Phil and Will are back. We are back. Phil and Will are back. This we.
Wait,
is back.
This we here?
I think this we. That was one of the weirdest exchanges I've ever seen happen in the Tribal Council. We're going into the finale. We are going to have an Abby Maria list, except for, she'll show up. She'll be there, but Abby Maria's gone. She's no longer in contention. She's not going to be a GOAT here.
She wasn't in contention anyway, though.
But she could have been a GOAT, and I'm glad that she's not in it now. If we get Keith or Kimmy as a GOAT, they're a very likable GOAT. Yeah, Abby Maria has her fan base, but I'm happy to see her gone. She came into the game with really no chance to win, and she left the game before the finale. I'm happy to see that. But pretty simple episode. I thought Keith was going to be in a lot more trouble than he was. I'm kind of surprised that his name didn't really come up in this.
Yeah, we've seen it this season and other seasons when someone kind of throws a rogue vote around. It usually doesn't get that much attention. Apart from T-Bird and Lex in Africa, it's just not that big of a deal usually. And they really harped on it tonight that Keith threw that vote at Tasha last episode, and he's going to have to pay for it, or at least that's what it seemed. And his name wasn't even on the block. I thought early on Keith was going. The preview, previously on Survivor, that told me that Abby was in trouble as well because they showed that, the meta GOAT thing that wow, she's so much of a GOAT that, man, we have to get rid of her because everyone wants to sit next to her, that meta threat. So it was kind of cool to see, that in there. I kind of knew, I felt like it was Abby going in, except the Tasha getting almost drowning and then getting voted off would have made a lot of sense as well, especially when we saw Joe get voted out last week after he pretty much drowned in his own air, in his own,
Yeah. And that's a great point. That's something that I'm surprised nobody brought up. Joe goes home because he's such a threat. He's willing to push his body to passing out. Nobody brought up that Tasha was such a threat because she's pushing herself to drown. It's the same situation.
No. That is not the same situation.
Why not? They both pushed their bodies to an extent where they couldn't move anymore. Look what they would do to win.
But Tasha was in last place, not able to move. It wasn't her decision to push that far. If she had made it back on land after that, or back on land on one of those wooden plank things, she would have just fallen down and maybe passed out and all right, I'm done with this challenge. I can't win. She was never in contention to win the challenge, so that can't be threatening. Are you kidding here, or are you actually being serious?
Yeah, I'm half kidding.
You should be 100% kidding. Not that it's a funny joke.
No, I'm just surprised nobody brought it up as that, when they're trying to say, let's throw Tasha's name around. I was kind of surprised, though, Spencer didn't vote out Tasha here, since you would think Tasha and Jeremy would be more threatening to him. It seems like nobody really believes Kelly Wentworth can win.
Yeah, that was interesting to see, too, that it brought up by Tasha and Jeremy that, wow, Kelly Wentworth in the final three, that's not what Survivor fans want to see. That's something we definitely want to see, and I think we actually might see that. But I thought it was more interesting that that Tasha, being this huge challenge beast, at least in her first season, was just awful in that challenge. It wasn't even, she just almost drowned. I thought she might get medevac there because we have 7 people in the penultimate episode. That has never happened before. I thought, wow, maybe we'll lose Tasha, and then they go to Tribal, and then we're down to 5 for the finale like usual. I know we kept saying it's going to be a 6-person finale, but that could have made a lot of sense. So she actually had me believing she was going to exit the game because secondary drowning is a very real thing.
No, it is, and that's why the guy came and checked her, make sure her breathing was fine, her oxygen levels were fine. I'm sure she laid there for a pretty long time to make sure she was okay. I think she just panicked more than anything. But this was crazy to see Tasha this exhausted, and this is back-to-back weeks where we see 2 great challenge competitors literally just not be able to move. And I think you can compare this a little bit to what Joe was doing. Yeah, Tasha was in last place, but
I won't compare it. I won't do it.
You don't have to.
This is not on the same level. This is no. This is not even the same thing.
No. This is the same thing. Her body is pushed to the extent. It's pushed to its absolute furthest, and she cannot move anymore. Doesn't matter if you're in first place or last place. If your body can't do it anymore, your body can't do it anymore. It's the same exact thing. That's what I'm saying. I'm not comparing her and Joe. I'm just saying these are 2 good challenge competitors who their bodies can't do it anymore.
If Tasha was pushing herself this hard, why wasn't she in all the immunity challenges for the rest of the merge before now? Because Kelly Wentworth won that immunity when it was a girl a girl could win. And then Joe passed. Like, why didn't Tasha pass out then? Why didn't she? She hasn't been a competitor this season. And it's literally because she can't swim. And that's it. It's not, I mean, yeah, she's tired. Yeah, she's malnourished, but like, she can't swim. Like, you have Keith out there. You have Abby out there. You have Kimmy out there getting it done. This isn't a thing about strength. She just isn't a very good swimmer, and it showed. And
so you're going to honestly sit here and tell me that this had nothing to do with her being pushed to her physical limits. You're going to literally sit here and tell me that.
I'm not saying that, but I am saying that her physical limits in the water aren't like anything. They're not that great anyway. Like, it's not like Tasha could ever have won this challenge. To say like she went so hard that she couldn't. No. She could run this thing against no competition. The same thing would happen. It's like, she just can't do this. It's not about a limit. It's like you can't do it. She couldn't do it.
When you can't do something, that's called your limit.
But it's a normal challenge. She's in last place. With Joe, it's like it's a head-on competition between Joe and Keith. I can't believe you're even comparing the two right now, honestly. Like, I know they both had the thing on their finger and they're exhausted, but one was an endurance challenge. This was an obstacle course where there's a swimming portion, and like the swimming portion got her, and she can't swim. That's all it is to it. I mean, she held in the water. If you think you can't swim and do that much, I mean, this is more honestly like not realizing your ability. So like, if Tasha's out there like, wow, I cannot get this key, or I am struggling in the water, you got to just hop up back. And I know that might look bad, but it looks a lot worse.
She was sitting on the buoy though. And I think that she was just figuring, now the challenge is over, let me try to get back over there. And she just couldn't get there. I think that's why she sat on the buoy for that entire time.
Exactly, and that's how bad it is. It's not about like I'm pushing myself. If you push yourself, like if you're going all out, like you get the key off, you swim back.
I don't understand how that's not her pushing herself, though. I mean, she pushed herself to the point where she couldn't move. She still pushed herself. Like, I don't understand how that's not pushing yourself.
So Kimmy didn't push herself because she didn't pass out.
Pushed herself.
But she didn't pass out, so she didn't push herself hard enough. I mean,
you're being ridiculous. Well, you are being ridiculous.
You're comparing this to Joe, who was literally passed out standing on dry land. This has more to do with the water than anything. And if
but she still pushed herself to her absolute limit.
But it wasn't her choice.
Here.
Okay, let me make the difference here. I can't believe you're bringing this up. Okay, so let me make the comparison with Joe. In that endurance challenge, him holding the pole, at any time you can drop off. And that's you saying, you know what, that's my limit. I can't do this anymore. Tasha didn't have a choice in this. She's in the middle of the water. So to say she's like pushing herself to the limit, no, there's no limit. It's just like she can't even do it in the first place. Like, there's no chance for you to even be in this race, in this competition.
And she tried to push herself to do it, and she pushed herself to her limit. Thank you.
What I'm saying, okay, so you're saying someone who can't swim gets in the water, immediately, boom, they push themselves to their limit. Like, I guess that's true, but that's not what you're framing this as.
That's exactly what I'm framing it as. She was literally so physically exhausted when she was done that she couldn't even get up. That's pushing yourself to your limit.
Phil, that is insane that you're saying this.
You're a nutcase, dude.
So, okay, if I can't, let's say there's a fire competition, fire juggling, and I say, you know what, I'm going to juggle fire today. I'm going to push myself to my limit. I start juggling. After juggling for like not even a second, I light on fire and die. Is that me like, oh, I gave it my all, I'm pushing myself to my limit? No, that's me just sucking at juggling fire. And that's what happened to Tasha. She just sucks at swimming. There's nothing to be said about it. You don't compare this to Joe, because Joe, he could have just dropped the pole, let Keith win. That's it. What he did, he stayed in for the longest as he could, pushed himself to his very limit, so much so that he passed out on dry land while doing something very simple. Tasha, this isn't like, for her, this is swimming. That's just going to happen. I don't even like getting into challenges that much. To compare this to Joe is, I mean, it's kind of like, it's absurd. It is absurd. Tasha couldn't do this. So yeah, I guess it was her limit, but like sucking at something, you shouldn't get that term. She went all out. She went hard. It's like, no, Kimmy went harder. We're not talking about Kimmy. How about we say congratulations to Kimmy for finishing the challenge? I don't want to talk about Tasha, who just completely can't do it.
All right, we spent way too much time on this. We'll just agree to disagree. You're completely wrong.
If I agreed with you, then we'd both be wrong. So I'm not gonna agree with you.
The ego, man. The ego. Anyway,
ego,
on to
man.
more important things. If you guys want to comment on our last video. We'll read them on here. Please tell me Will's wrong. I don't
Link
really
is
know
in the
what else to
description.
say.
Oh my god, you're comparing Joe to Tasha right now. They're so far apart. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Anyway, is the link in the description? I missed what you said.
It is. I'll
Okay.
take care of it as always.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, on to bigger and better things. Let's talk real quick, and I just want to draw attention to this. I know we don't want to talk too much about the challenge. We've already spent like 10 minutes on it, but let's talk about this puzzle because this is the puzzle that everybody in Worlds Apart passed up, and we were saying you should definitely do. Like you were saying, I will give credit here. You were saying, why would you not do this puzzle? It's 5 pieces. It can't be that hard. You get lucky and real quick, and it's done. Spencer did this in 15 seconds, and I don't care if they say that this is the hardest one. That could have been luck. I mean, it could be talent, it could be luck, but that's why you always do the puzzle with the least amount of pieces, especially when the square is sitting there for you. It was a square.
Yeah, it was cool to see this puzzle come back because I was once I saw the pieces, I'm like, wow, that is the Worlds Apart really hard puzzle. Like though it is so hard. And I don't know what you said about it when we did it.
I don't remember.
I remember saying 100% you have to go that, especially in that Worlds Apart challenge. If the one was too hard for you, you could switch out. So you at least got to give that one a go in Worlds Apart. But here, I mean, I don't want to take credit away from Spencer. He got it done. Jeff made a point. Like, we tested this a bunch. No one got it that quickly. Luck involved. There's always luck involved. I don't care. It's not like he said, oh, I see it exactly. Like, he definitely had an idea of how they go together. But 15 seconds is it's hard to say luck isn't involved with that.
It's hard to say luck isn't involved, but it's also hard to say that it's that hard of a puzzle because it took him 15 seconds, and I would have done exactly what he did. And granted, we got to see it, so like it's kind of hard to say in hindsight. But you take the square and you put it in the corner, and you take that big obnoxious piece and just put it over the top of it, and see if you can fit the rest of the puzzle together. I mean, that did not look like it was that hard of a puzzle, and I really like puzzles. I don't think it didn't look that hard. I think the tree one's harder because it's up in the air. You can't just look down at it. And, I mean, this had the square outline on it. The tree one is a pain because you're putting it, like, in and you have to look at it, like, right in front of you. You can't and there's no outline to it.
There is no way this puzzle is harder than a tree puzzle. It just doesn't make any sense. Even if you just go piece by piece, I'm going to try every possible combination, you're going to get it done more quickly than the tree puzzle. Also, I think Spencer, he put 2 pieces together that by chance just kind of happen to fit. And once you have 2 together that work well, then it goes from a 5-piece puzzle to a 4-piece puzzle. So then you're good. I would have loved to try this. I said that in the Worlds Apart podcast. Man, I want my hands on that puzzle. I love puzzles. But yeah,
I bet you we never see that puzzle again because I think Spencer might have ruined it.
Yeah,
I think he ruined it. Because that would have been cool. Like, if that was a bigger puzzle, like, give us, like, a 30-piece puzzle or something here that's a little bit harder that you have to, like, spell out a word or something. It would have been cool to see that because then people could have came back. I mean, Spencer did this so quick. Good on Spencer, but, I mean, it made for a little bit less dramatic of a challenge. He was already in the lead anyway by the time he got there. I don't even know. Did Jeremy even get, like, really a chance to get started? I think he might have put, like, a piece down.
Yeah, no, he got a full-on, like, go at it. He got, like, 1 go at it, which is not enough for a puzzle like this, especially when they say it's, like, the most difficult thing ever. Yeah. But he did get the full, all right, whatever I have in place right now isn't going to work because I have a piece left and it doesn't fit. But, we nitpick this stuff all the time. Let's at least give credit where credit's due. Mm-hmm. And this was the type of immunity challenge that we did want to see. We wanted some type of obstacle course. We wanted the movement. We wanted the running. We've seen so much balance and endurance. It was good to see this. And it was very nice for Jeff to say, well, this is the second chance because none of the season 30 people are here. This is a second chance for the puzzle because it never got shown. Yeah. I thought that was an awesome line. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, it's good, yeah, because he couldn't play up like, Joe, this is your second chance to get a go. I mean, nobody, even if Joe was there, it's not like he used it because he dominated the other puzzle anyway. Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was a cool challenge. Spencer just kind of ruined it for everybody because he did it so fast. But I agree with you. I like that they had to go out into the water. They had to retrieve something and come back. And it's about time we get to see this. Like, it's about time. They haven't been doing challenges like this, and it's about time we get to see, like, a really intensive challenge.
I mean, they have been doing this kind of stuff, but it's been for reward, so it was good to see it for immunity.
Yeah. And the reward challenge tonight was pretty cool, too. That was another good challenge. And then that scared me into thinking, like, wow, we're going to get a crappy immunity challenge because the reward challenge was pretty good tonight.
Yeah, and Keith, again, Keith is the one with the second chance. He pulls it in. Yeah, I like this challenge a lot. I think the rope thing, I mean, Jeff was obviously overplaying it as usual. The rope management, like that should have been a hashtag rope management. Yeah. No, it was lots of fun. Keith winning, I like that he wins the challenge, but he's like the least strategic person to like decide who goes. And it worked out well this episode because a lot of strategy happened both at camp and on the reward. But when he was like it looked like he was winning, I was like, damn, I wish someone who kind of had a more strategic thinking about the reward pick would win. But it all ended up okay. So I guess we're just knocking out challenges here. We're not going in any order, but that's fine.
No, we can go like to the beginning. It's just, it seemed like Keith was doomed from the start. And somebody had tweeted at us and said, well, 20 seconds in and Keith got first confessional. See you, Keith. And that's kind of along what I was thinking too. I thought Keith was in a little bit of trouble here. Just based on how little we've seen of him, and it made sense for him to go this week. And I was really happy that it didn't end up being him because that would have been like another one where it's like, okay, the first person you think is going to go, they're not gone. You know, or they're gone again. Like that's been happening a lot, even though it's been good. There wasn't that much though that really took place before the challenge. They kind of jumped right into the challenge. It was like Tasha was, I guess, was Tasha, or Keith was mad because he didn't know what was going on. What else happened? I forget.
We have Jeremy and Spencer saying like, yeah, we're on the bottom. I think we're on the bottom. At least I think that was before the challenge. It seemed like this seemed weird because Jeremy kept saying buyer's remorse. And we kind of came to the conclusion last week in our last two podcasts, actually, that they didn't have the numbers to get rid of Abby last week. Tasha was going to vote with the girls anyway. So I don't know about this whole buyer's remorse thing. Maybe they had more power than I thought. Did this shed any light on actually what happened last week?
I mean, this was weird to me because if like he was saying, like buyer's remorse means that you could have purchased something, which means he could have saved Joe and voted out Abby. If he could have done that, I don't understand what they could have possibly been thinking to get rid of a guy when the Girls Alliance is clearly a threat because it's been brought up to you. And it looks like Tasha wants to go back with it. I mean, after tonight, it pretty much proved that she wanted to go back with Jeremy and Spencer. But still, last week, you'd be sitting there like, okay, we need to get rid of Abby if they have that possibility. And this kind of made it seem like they did have that chance.
Yeah, I thought the Girls Alliance was going to be a way more bigger threat this episode than it was. It really came up like one time, but Tasha brought it up in front of Jeremy and Kimmy. Kimmy was the one who kind of spearheaded this Girls Alliance, and she seemed to not even be that pissed about Tasha bringing it up. So I don't think it was as real as we ever thought it was. It might have been, kind of heavy in the edit. But I guess we should just go immediately, unless we have anything before the challenge that we really need to get to. I think we should just go to these kind of the group of 4 that stayed at camp on the reward, and then the 3 that went to the temple reward.
Yeah, and this was a good reward. I liked that they finally went to like the temple. They got to like see some of the culture. Like I love that type of stuff. I know that we've done they did the thing where they give back to the community and all that, but this was like a cool, like they're just going, they're seeing some of the culture and they're just hanging out. And we don't always get to see that in recent seasons. Like they kind of skip over some of this. They kind of skim it. It probably costs money, but they had already shot here. Probably didn't cost them any more to just go back there. There was like that little dance thing. And this was cool to see Keith, Wentworth, and Spencer bond over this. And to be honest with you, if that's the final 3, it's not going to happen now because Abby went. But if that would have been the final 3 at that point, I was sitting there like, okay, I don't think that's going to be.
It can happen.
No, it can happen. But I'm saying the way they wanted it to play out with Abby being their 4th, and then it would be the 3 of them, it seems like it's not going to happen. But if that does happen, I'm totally fine with that final 3 because you have 2 really good players who deserve to win, and you have a really likable GOAT. Like that's got to be like one of the most likable GOATs of all time if Keith is the person who sits there at the end and has 0 votes. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, no, I am too. And just before I hop on to this reward stuff, one more thing I think before we get to the reward is the mention of the San Manuel del Sur 3 still being there. And they were all in the same original tribe from that season. because we kept talking about it, like, wow, these three are still in there. We hadn't heard any of it on the show. So finally, at Final 7, they're like, damn, like there's three of us here. Just thought I'd mention that because I like these three players. On the reward, I was getting a very strong Final 3 vibe before they even brought it up. Like you could just tell they were bonding really hard at this temple.
No, that makes a lot of sense, and it's a good thing you brought up that Sam Aldo's third thing because that was something like I noticed, and I was like, oh, maybe this will be like a Final 3. But that temple thing, it did seem like that was like legit. Like that seemed legit. I'm kind of surprised Spencer voted the way he did tonight.
Yeah, I guess we'll get into the Spencer vote later. I'm sure that's what everyone really wants to hear. Like, did Spencer make the right decision? All this stuff. We can talk about Abby throwing her vote at Keith, but somehow still being blindsided. So lots to talk about the vote there. I guess we'll kind of get through the reward part. So Keith, Abby, Kelly, and Spencer, they seem like they made a Final 3. At least we heard from Spencer, but we didn't see it on the camera, like handshakes. It was kind of talked about. Everyone was like, yeah, I'm down. Like, this sounds pretty good. And then Spencer had the confessional about it. But we didn't see like a moment, like a pact. We just heard about it.
You're talking about between Wentworth, Keith, and Spencer, correct? Sorry, I'd lost you for a second. Yeah. No, I think that it was more of it. This is why I don't think it's definitely going to happen, or it's kind of unlikely that it happens. I feel like this was more of just like, here's like an extra thought as to who could possibly be in this Final 3. And it seems like a legitimate thing. But yeah, it didn't seem like they were ever like, okay, let's shake on it, let's do this. It just seemed like, I think Wentworth had the lineup, we're going to wake up on day 38, it's going to be the three of us and Abby. And I guess that's really as close as you can get to like them like actually shaking hands on it because they didn't really do it. But I think they were all on board for it. And I think Spencer definitely considered it.
Oh, no, I think they were all considering it, but there wasn't that like, hand in, this is it. This is like Final 3, I can't wait. It seems like more people are wanting to keep their options open, and Tasha mentioned this in the tribal council that everyone has options. That's why the whole we thing came up. Like this we, is it the Final 3 we of Keith and Kelly and Spencer? So yeah, they all like the idea, but it didn't seem. I don't think it's going to happen, just like you're saying, especially because there wasn't a big kind of moment of it. It was just, yeah, like that would sound good to me, but we got to wait and see what happens. It was pretty much everyone's kind of thought on it. Like, yeah, I'm down because if I say I'm not down, then I'm screwed.
And I think this gets into the whole weird we thing that they were talking about at the end. It seems like everybody's just kind of playing along with everything and then seeing where their best option actually lands. Like, I think everybody is down to be like, yeah, I'll go to the Final 3 with you. Yeah, I'll do this. Yeah, I'll do this. Because you need to have all the options, and that's why this season's been so damn good, is because everybody's planning so far ahead, and they have no problem saying, you know what, that's not going to work for me. I need to just end that. Or, you know what, Spencer tonight. Me working with Abby Maria, it's just not going to work. I need to get rid of her. Like, I think everybody's down to do that, and that's why, like, we're not seeing, like, all these handshakes and stuff where it's like, yeah, this is our definite Final 3, because everybody wants to keep their options open and not feel like they've completely screwed somebody over if they end up on the jury.
And then even to add on to that, everyone knows that everyone else is doing that. So it's like, okay, I know that if you're out there, Phil, that you have your own Final 3, probably 3 different Final 3s. I have my own 3 different Final 3s. We might be in, we might have 2 of them together, but we don't have all of them together. And so everyone's like, okay, that you're going to just kind of backstab. And that's why the word backstab hasn't come up that much this season. I mean, we hear blindside, we hear voting blocks, and, no alliances, this stuff. But we don't hear, like, lie or backstab. It's just because people are okay with it now. At least that's what it seems like to me.
It doesn't seem like anybody's bitter, except it seemed like Savage was bitter, and I'm sure Abby Maria is going to be kind of bitter to whoever's sitting there in the Final 3. I'm sure she'll yell at somebody, no matter who's sitting there. I'm sure she'll be okay with with some of the people there, and I'm sure she'll yell at somebody. I mean, that's just what Abby Maria is going to do. Otherwise, everybody else realizes exactly what this is, and everybody's like, okay, they got me. What am I going to do? I think that's why this has been good too.
Even Abby Maria, though, when she walked out, she said, like, well played, and which is a very
which was shocking.
Yeah, not a very Abby Maria thing to say. I was expecting something much more kind of provocative, saying, F you or screw you or I have the jury vote or something where it's about her taking, I don't know. For her to say well played, I think it really shows you how this season is going, that like, yeah, this is a game. Everyone's okay with it. Let's now head to the 4 people back at camp during this reward I guess we should say they wanted to vote Tasha, the people on Reward. They kind of
the 3 people on Reward.
3 people. We didn't mention that, so yeah, they want to vote Tasha. People back at camp, they're tossing out Keith because Keith is now he's won 2 challenges in a row. He's a challenge beast. What seemed weird to me here was that everyone was kind of talking in the open, and it was almost like, well, 3 people on Reward, 4 people are back at camp. I guess now we're an alliance, just because that's the way this season is going. Because it didn't seem that you have Kelly and Abby, who are the witches still left, that supposedly are on the bottom. They're split, but somehow everyone's talking like, yeah, Alliance of 3 is out there, Alliance of 4 is here. Did you notice that?
I did, and what I found weird about this alliance here was that Kimmy and Tasha were trying to take the reins so hard on Jeremy, and it was almost like Tasha was like kind of saying like, no, Jeremy, you have to give some, like, you can't always take this, you can't take this. And I thought that Jeremy was gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna join those other guys because I feel like he's really tight with Spencer. And I thought, he's gonna join those other guys and vote Tasha out. And I thought this was gonna lead to Tasha's downfall. It seemed like she was really pushing that of like, she even had the confessional where it's like, Jeremy, you got to let me make my big move now. And it's like, if you're in this game, you don't want to let anybody make their big move. You want to be making all of the big moves. And Kimmy was getting very animated at Jeremy about this. Like, this is the only option we have. So I really thought Keith was like doomed here. It just made sense for Keith to go home.
Yeah, I was thinking, because they were saying, yeah, Keith, I got rid of my jacket, by the way. Maybe it was causing
It was the jacket that was making the noise because you're not making noise anymore.
Really? Man. Not a good look for North Face. You can't wear North Face during a podcast.
Wow.
That was our product. That was our product placement, and now it's out the window.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Wow.
Too bad.
It's amazing. You sound fine now. That's crazy.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, Kimmy and Tasha going hard, kind of threatening Jeremy. If you don't do this, like, something is up. But if you think about it, Jeremy has Spencer back there and Keith, I think. Keith has kind of been on that buy-on boat pretty much since the start of the season. I mean, he doesn't really know what he's doing.
And here's where this came in. Jeremy's got Spencer back there, and the 2 he's with, they showed that who scene. And you feel like they're showing it for a reason because Jeremy might sneak back over there with them. It's 2 Anapu people, and you get Spencer, who he's really close with, and Tasha goes home. That's what I was really starting to get that vibe a little bit. Although Keith, it seemed like it was going to be Keith or Tasha. The fact that Abby went home, they introduced that late.
It was late, but because of the preview that showed why it's such a reason to get rid of her, and Spencer also saying, look, I have this great plan, but it all hinges on one person who's rational, Abby's not rational. Things like that were kind of sprinkled throughout the episode that led me to believe that I think Abby was going. I could have seen Tasha going, though. I wasn't sure about this one at all, but I was leaning towards Abby.
Yeah, I could have seen Tasha going too. I was leaning a little bit more towards Abby. What was crazy to me is we were talking about on our predictions. Tasha's in like the good swing position. She's not going to go home. Like, you put her at 3. I put her at 1. I think I put her at 2. But like, we both had her high up, and we're like, well, she's in the swing, and they don't get rid of the swing at final 7 because then it's still 3 versus 3. Didn't seem like she was in the swing at all coming into this episode. It seemed like last week she could have been in that position, but this week, absolutely not.
That's because the Girls Alliance thing just didn't pan out. Once Tasha mentioned to Jeremy, are you worried about the Girls Alliance? Let's get this on the table. You don't have to worry about that in front of Kimmy. That's when you know the Girls Alliance isn't happening. And then Tasha is no longer the swing. Then you have like the Spencer Kelly Keith thing kind of came out of nowhere for me, at least. I mean, it makes sense for Spencer. It kind of makes sense for Kelly, although I don't know why you want to go then with Spencer. But it does make a little bit of sense. But honestly, it felt that reward kind of just put a line in the sand, at least for me. So, yeah, Tasha, I was worried that Tasha was going the whole time, especially after her kind of incident in the water. Do you want to just jump? This was one of the shortest in-between reward challenge to Tribal ever, I think. It was very short.
Yeah, it was very short. There was like nothing there. And I was waiting to get like a little bit more in on this, and then they just didn't bring Keith's name up at all, and it seemed like Abby was almost going to be who everybody was fighting for. Which one is she going to be on? And then it turned into, where is Spencer going to land? And the Spencer, Tasha, Jeremy handshake was so bizarre to me. It didn't feel sincere at all from Spencer. They were like, are you with this? Like, I'm going to do what's best for me, which right now is work with you guys. But like, he was very laid back with it. And it almost seemed like not authentic, which is how Spencer is a lot of the season. So I guess it's not that surprising. But it just didn't seem real to me. And I'm surprised that group of three is so willing to go to the final three together, or seems like they're so willing to go to the final three together.
Yeah, usually we talk about the vote right at the beginning of the podcast, so we got into it about Joe and Tasha, and I thought that was a silly argument we got into. But let's talk about the vote, because now we can talk about it now that we're here. I don't think this is the right move for Spencer, because either way, I mean, he put himself in a position that he screwed over one side. It's final seven. He literally put himself in the middle. This wasn't like a kind of Jacqueline John thing in San Juan del Sur where they kind of found themselves being the swing vote. No, Spencer made a deal with Keith and Kelly to like bring Abby over. That's the four. And then he went to Jeremy and Tasha saying like, yeah, I got you guys. We have Kimmy. That's our four. So this was all Spencer's doing. And it is impressive to kind of whittle yourself into the middle and be that power player and have all the game's fate in your hands. That's cool and all, but you're going to piss three people off. And if you're going to piss three people off, you might as well surround yourself with as many goats as possible, at least. I don't think he made the right move.
If everybody really believes that Wentworth's a GOAT, which I don't know how much, I guess maybe they do believe it. I don't know. Maybe they're just not thinking of her as a legitimate threat to win, but I think she has votes all over that Jerry.
I don't think she's as much of a GOAT, but when Tasha and Jeremy were saying, like, what do the fans want here? And if you have a Keith, Kimmy, Kelly, I mean, they could honestly have said later, then Kelly's a runaway.
Yeah, that's true.
Or like Kelly wasn't that big in her season. Keith is like total GOAT. Kimmy's a total GOAT. It still isn't like either. That's not an exciting final three, no matter how great Kelly might be. I do agree with them. I don't want to see that final three.
No, exactly. And that's why I'm surprised Spencer didn't go with that side. Because if you piss off Jeremy and you piss off Tasha and you send them both to the jury and you send both of them to the jury, then you get Abby Maria goes. And if he's sitting there, Spencer, in a final three, and even if Wentworth's there, I think he wins, especially if they're all playing it up like Wentworth could be a GOAT. And if Wentworth's not a GOAT, which I don't think she is, Spencer is such a – if he sits there at the end with – if it's him, Abby, and Keith, or him, Kimmy, and Abby, or any of that like group there, he's sitting there with them, and there's no way Jeremy and Tasha and everybody he screwed over votes for anybody but him anyway. If he's sitting there with Tasha and Jeremy, it's very easy for Kimmy, Keith, Wentworth, and Abby to say, you know what? I'm voting for Jeremy or Tasha because at least they're deserving. It's very easy for them to do that now.
Yeah, but if Spencer goes with them, why isn't Spencer deserving to those three? Because he backstabbed them, or is this before he makes the deal?
I'm sorry, I lost you for a second. Say that again.
I mean, you're saying they wouldn't vote Spencer, Keith, Kelly, and Kimmy, but why?
I'm just saying, like you said, surround yourself with the GOATs if you're going to screw somebody over. If you have to be thinking, if you're Spencer, you have a better chance to beat
Okay.
Everybody else,
someone over.
Yes, exactly. And if you're going to sit there, nobody's going to vote for Kimmy and Keith if they're sitting there next to you, no matter what. Tasha and Jeremy, there's a really good argument to vote for them instead of you if you screwed somebody over. And they might just say, you know what, Jeremy didn't screw me over and he got here. I'll vote for him to win.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying now. Yeah. It's weird though. Why did Abby vote for Keith? Because in her little final word segment, she says, man, they got me blindside. She says, well played after she leaves. Like she didn't think she was going home. But she voted for Keith, who wasn't even on the block. So there was no chance at Tasha ever going home when Abby, a very necessary vote for Tasha to go home, like she didn't even write her name down.
Maybe she thought she was voting with Tasha. Maybe she thought she was voting with Tasha, Jeremy, and Keith. Or maybe she thought she was voting with Tasha and Jeremy, not realizing that they were voting for her. Maybe they said, we're voting Keith.
Yeah, that could happen. Okay, now that you said it, I think I do have it. I think she wanted to do like a rogue flip, maybe. Mm-hmm. That like, I'm not going to tell anybody that I'm flipping. I want to cause chaos. I'm a villain, all this stuff. And like you said, they're voting for Keith, so she's going to write Keith's name down. But in reality, they were voting Tasha, so it didn't even matter.
Yeah. And I think like if she wanted to vote with Tasha, Jeremy, and Spencer, they weren't going to sit there and say, hey, look, we're voting for you. They were going to say we're voting for Keith because they're not going to say they're voting for Tasha. So they probably said something to her along those lines or something, and she was like, oh, I can vote for Keith, and I'll totally blindside Keith here, and Tasha won't go home, or whoever won't go home.
And it will be her move for her resume, and she was on the bottom so long. That would have been really interesting if Spencer had stuck with Wentworth and Keith. That's 3 votes going towards only 3 votes going towards
Tasha.
Who?
And Tasha, 3 going towards Abby.
Right. 3 going towards Abby, and then 1 towards Keith. That's a tie. On the revote, Abby probably then would vote out. Vote. Oh, right. She can't vote.
Yeah.
So then who goes home? Then I guess it's just Abby goes home on I
guess Abby goes home anyway.
On a 3-2 vote. So it wouldn't have changed anything, but a tie could have happened with that vote throw away by Abby there.
Yeah. No, it could have if Spencer would have stayed, but it seemed like Spencer, Tasha, Jeremy, and Kimmy were solid. I mean, it seems like Kimmy, she brought up the female alliance and stuff, but it seems like she's been pretty loyal to Jeremy the entire time.
Oh, she has been.
Yeah.
And that's why I was so shocked when Tasha brought it up in front of Kimmy. It's almost as if Tasha and Kimmy discussed the Girls Alliance kind of not being a thing before them saying, look, I don't really want to work with Wentworth or Abby, or we can't trust Abby, or it's not going to work, or maybe Jeremy has an idol or something like that.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, do you have anything else to really say about this episode, or you want to just kind of get in the comments? I mean, Abby goes home. I know we're both kind of pumped about that. I mean, I'm happy that this finale, I know Kimmy and Keith can't win, but going into this finale, if any of the 6 win, I'm really fine with it. I'm not a huge Tasha fan, but if she wins, good on her. She did something to do it, as opposed to just, we don't really have any nuisances out there right now. All of them are good people. So whatever, if any of them win, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah. I mean, I was just happy that, that Jeremy, Spencer, and Kelly made it, because those are your 3 contenders right there. One of them will be the winner of this season, a week's time. So I'm just glad they all 3 made it.
And Will called it. I mean, Will called it 100% back when Savage said something happens this season that doesn't happen. And I think it pretty much told us here in this preview, there's going to be a tie at Final 3. Jeff was looking at the urn, and he was coming back up, and he was like, for the first time in 31 seasons, if he's looking at the urn, that's the only thing that it really could be.
Yeah, thank you for the credit there. The other alternative was that the idol canceled out all votes for the first time. No one got votes, but that's not a possibility in his position unless the vote he just put down in the urn. But it looked like the urn had the lid on it, so I'm totally thinking tie. I cannot believe they would show something like that in the darn preview.
I'm not surprised. I mean, we look so far into it. There's so many people who aren't looking into it. I guarantee, when my parents talk, if my parents talk to me tomorrow, they're going to be like, what do you think it is? What do you think it is? And they're not thinking, they won't be thinking like that. We just dissect it all so much. And you brought it up, 5 weeks ago? I mean, obviously we're going to have that in our head. A lot of people who are watching that right now are just like, oh, wow, I wonder what it's going to be. And they're not probably putting any more thought into it than that, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think it was 5 weeks ago. That's a while ago.
It was close. Whenever Savage got voted out 5 weeks ago, 4 or 5 weeks
really
ago.
Wow, it's whenever Savage got voted out, made the comment, someone commented it, but it makes sense. That's only because it's the first time in Survivor history that someone had to be rescued out of the water, but that's not worth saying. It's not worth mentioning in an exit interview. We knew it was going to be something big, so I mean it makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So, it seems like that's what's going to happen. Let's get into some comments. We'll try not to do too much of the prediction thing because we're going to do so much of that in our predictions episode.
Exactly. We're going to do a full, especially because now we have all these possibilities. Phil and I love doing this, the final 3 scenarios with who's on the jury and all this stuff, counting jury votes. We love getting into that. We did that for the past 2 seasons, which was absolutely sucked because we knew Natalie was going to win in San Juan del Sur and that Mike was going to win in Worlds Apart. This is going to be fun. I cannot wait till Sunday. If we have any comments here that are who's going to win in the final 3 of blah, 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 let's just skip it, Phil, and then we will tackle them all on Sunday because that's probably the most fun podcast of the year, especially when we have 3 contenders.
Exactly. This is the best one that we're going to have done since we started. I mean, we only started in San Juan del Sur, but that was boring, and so was last season's. So let's just get into some of these. Jimmy O'Connor, after tonight, I think it's safe to say that this season will finish as one of the best. I agree. Tonight was awesome. This whole season's been awesome, and we're going to get a satisfying winner out of this season. We are going to get a satisfying winner, and everything is leading to the fact that we're finally not going to get a runaway vote. For the first time in I can't even remember how long. I know we did it at one point and figured it out, but for the first time probably since I think season 21, we're going to get a vote that is close at Final Tribal.
Yeah, and I think we didn't do close votes. I think we did obvious winners.
Yeah. And I think that still goes back to Nicaragua because I think it was 5-4, and that was, I mean, it could have been Fabio or Chase. So I think that's the last time.
Yeah, and it's very likely this will be the closest vote ever since it ends up in a tie, as you know we are now predicting.
Yeah, and it'll be great to see how that plays out. Supposedly, Gordon Holmes posted something, and he had interviewed Jeff Probst about it a while ago. If there's like a two-way tie, they would revote. Everybody would revote, and pretty much to try to break the tie. Granted, this is an even number jury, so they're not going to have that luxury. But if there is a tie and somebody else gets two votes, everybody's got to revote. And then he didn't say what happens after that. So this will be cool.
The most funny thing ever is if two people switch their vote who voted for opposite people to begin with, and then it's still tied, but we did get two people switching. That could happen too, which would be really funny.
Yeah. Jimmy O'Connor, we have so many possibilities of potential sole survivors that predictions will vary from A to Z for the next week. I agree. This is why Sunday is going to be so much fun. There's so many different possibilities right now.
And there's no leftovers on Sunday, so we can go for like 5 hours just hammering through scenarios.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's see here. Let me go back. Okay. So Peter Rubenstein says, my guess is that it's a Final Four. That's what's new. I don't think there's any way we get a Final Four here. It's going to be a Final Three. Final Four would just be way too much. That would be too much insanity. And it seemed like Jeff wasn't playing up for the first time ever. We're going to have a Final Four, I don't feel like. So.
It's him with the urn coming back from.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm convinced. And I was kind of convinced already, to be honest. This isn't that big of an it's almost confirmation at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so Tom Eisenberg, Dr. Joe has had more airtime than Kelly Wigglesworth this season. Definitely. And then he goes on to say, after seeing that preview, I do think there's a tie at Final Three. Giovanni Oriana, do you think the target should have been Kelly since she didn't play her idol and is a bigger immunity threat? I just think they wanted Abby gone. I think they were just tired of Abby being there. They were threatened by what Joe said last week. I think they were threatened that Abby could screw their game up this late. One wrong slip of the tongue, and their whole game is blown because they kept her around too long.
Yeah, I think it has more to do with that if you're in like a Final Four with Abby, and they were talking about it at the reward, like day 38, it's going to be Spencer, Kelly Keith, and Abby. Doesn't matter about your Final Three pack. If you're going to the Final Tribal Council, who do you want next to you? Spencer knows that it's Abby and Keith, and Kelly knows that it's going to be Abby and Keith. They both know that that Kelly or Spencer isn't going to want to sit next to them. So best to get rid of Abby now so that she can't steal your spot.
Yeah, very true. Giovanni Oriana again. How similar is this Final Seven to the one in Amazon? The only thing this one's missing is the Matt von Ertfeld or whatever his last name is. I don't even remember. That's what this one's missing. There's no – because Keith is Butch 100% because it's just like the quirky guy and all that. You have Spencer, who I would call like the Rob Sesternino of this season. We don't have – I don't know how similar this would be to Amazon because we don't have like the Matt von Ertfeld, and I think that people are seeing Kelly Wentworth playing the game. I don't know. Be? Exactly. I don't know. Unless he was like Alex, but Alex would have gone tonight. Jeremy would have went home tonight. So
did Dina make Final Seven?
No, Final Seven. It was. Yeah, I don't know who Kimmy would be either. So it's not that.
Yeah,
similar.
That'd be a good Kimmy.
Yeah, it's not that similar. I see where he's coming from, just with like strategists and stuff, and we might get like a Kelly Wentworth who wins, who like people coming into the season were like, "There's no way," but I don't see like her sitting there against. There's no Matt. You know, there's none of that. Let's see. Giovanni Oriana, MVP should be Jeremy. Got a girl out, avoided using the idol, and is in a good position to make the finals. I think
I'm down.
Spencer. I mean, it's got to be Spencer or Jeremy, just because Spencer did make the move here. This kind of goes back to like Tasha saying what she did last week. We wanted to give her LVP, but you got to kind of see how it plays out, and it didn't look like it played out badly for Tasha. So I don't know if this move's going to play out well or bad for Spencer in the long run. It's going to depend if he's sitting there with the tie at the final tribal and he loses, you know? So
Yeah, but we can't just be like, well, if you win, you get all the MVPs that we haven't decided yet.
no, that's true. No, I think Jeremy's definitely worthy of it.
But if we're sitting here now at this point, Spencer, I think Spencer made the wrong move. I think you get rid of Tasha.
Yeah, that's true.
So I can't give Spencer MVP.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, well, so is Jeremy, so it's not that much of a loss for you.
Well, okay, but I'm always honest. I say it all the time.
Always.
I'll give it to Jeremy.
Honest Will.
Hashtag that.
Honest Will, yeah. Giovanni Oriana, again, is Tasha right about voting out Abby is honorable? If I was out there, I'm going to play to win and take the GOATs to the end. I was surprised by something that was mentioned in this. They said that Tasha said her best move that she wanted to do was go to the final three with Jeremy and Spencer. Does she really believe she has a chance to win if that's what her final three is? Seriously.
She does. She really does believe that is the case.
That's crazy. I think that's crazy.
She thinks she's like the power player running the game. She really does. People feel it. She's like, it could be like Scoopin in Philippines, like just shocked that he didn't win. Like, cause in your head, you know what you're doing and you're getting success out of it. You're getting to the end.
Don't see what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, no. I even if you just look, I said this in the prediction podcast. Even if you look at just what they did on their first seasons, that should be enough to let you know that you don't want to go up against Jeremy or Spencer.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true. Larry Miller, what podcast will you do during the off season? We have any ideas?
We have a lot. There's a lot stacked up. A lot of people comment that kind of sporadically throughout the videos. So we definitely have. I mean, I know we have the Hot Girl podcast,
and the Hot Guy podcast. I mean, we might have to do that one too.
I don't know.
But yeah, I know we had some ideas. We're not 100% sure yet.
We have Challenge Beasts, Top Tribal Council, Top Idol Plays. I mean, people love ranking things, I guess. I mean, people just want to rank stuff. So I'm game. Yeah. I'll rank some stuff.
Yeah. All right. Last one on Twitter. I guess Ash and Mel were nowhere to be found tonight. Will. Wow. Giovanni Oriana. Abby is kind of like Big Tom. Both played twice, made it deep into the game, but can't win for different reasons. I think Big Tom is Keith. I think Keith is Big Tom. I don't think Abby is Big Tom because Big Tom was the comic relief the whole time and never really had a chance to win. I think that's Keith 100%.
Yeah. What place did Big Tom get in Africa?
He got fourth both times. He got fourth both times, or he got fourth and fifth, I think.
Yo, Keith could nail that.
Keith might do that. Keith Nail might wow. Keith Nail might nail that.
Yeah.
And I saw what you did there. All right, let's go on. It did. All right, let's go on to the YouTube comments. Brian Johnson, I hope Jeremy doesn't win this season. Go Kelly Wentworth. Good to see Kelly Wentworth still getting some love. Yeah, I mean, I'm good with Jeremy or Kelly Wentworth. I'm not rooting against either of them here. Nate LaRocca, Jeremy is fading for me a bit, but I want the editors to put the spotlight on someone else like Spencer or Tasha. Tonight, Jeremy didn't get too much screen time. He didn't get like that much screen time. He wasn't overbearing. Tasha actually got a lot, and it would have made sense for her to go home.
And Spencer. Spencer got a ton. And, man, I want to root for Spencer so badly. He's just coming off like a guys, like I really love survival. Like I just can't I want to root for Spencer. It's really hard to. I'd rather have Kelly Wentworth win than Spencer. And the only reason I really want Jeremy at this point is because I called him pregame. So I'm kind of rooting for Kelly Wentworth.
I want Kelly Wentworth. I want Kelly Wentworth to win too. I think that would be great because she never really had the numbers this whole season. And she just was able to maneuver her way through. And if she can get to the end, I mean, then that's where the Amazon comparison come in, where it's like the hot girl who nobody really thought had a chance. Here she is. And she has one of the best cases to win against people who could be seen as, better survivors, See, Gideon Powers, love your guys' podcast. Keep up the good work. Really think Spencer could win, and I would love that. Jeremy's a close second. As much as I love Keith, I don't think he'll win, but damn, is he funny. Yeah, I mean, we got some good Keith tonight. I'm glad we got a full season of Keith again.
I mean, the best part of Keith tonight was the finale preview where they're doing like the slow-mo of every person and he just spits and it's like this bunch of
Mm-hmm.
saliva just rolling out in slow
Yeah.
motion. That's the best thing we've ever seen of Keith, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I like how like yeah, everybody's getting like hero shots and he just gets like a like the worst loogie of all time. Um, Slim Pickens. Well, I can't watch you all anymore. You had to bring up that brain dead punk Jeff Ken again. Makes millions of dollars playing a game and complains. I'd tax his butt even more. Thanks, Will. And Giovanni Oriana responds with, "Hey, as Abby Maria says, get over it." Man, Giovanni coming to bat for us. We don't have to say anything mean.
Wait, we can't bring up former survivors and their funny quotes that they say on their exit? Like, since when are we not allowed to do that?
I don't know. I think she just doesn't like Jeff Kent. She's probably like a Dodgers fan or something. Or Slim Pickens. That's probably a guy. My bad. Anyway.
Oh, burn there.
No, that wasn't a burn. That was just me saying before I said she, and it probably was a guy. Didn't even mean that as Slim Pickens. There's just, there was a guy named Slim Pickens. Anyway, RCCM of Franca. Oh my God, I have no idea how to pronounce that. Wentworth and Abby Maria for the win. This was before today, obviously. Abby Maria's gone, so I guess they're rooting for Wentworth. What about? I think the idol play will happen at Final Five. When can they play the idols till this season? Is it 4 or 5? They haven't really drawn attention to it.
I think Final Five, especially if it's a Final Three, you can't play at Final Four. And it's going to be a Final Three.
Okay. Yeah, so do you think that the idols are going to actually get played? I mean, Wentworth or Jeremy's going to have to play it if their name comes up. But do you think that they're going to get played like back-to-back maybe next week? Do you think we're going to get one at Final 6 and then one at Final 5?
You would think that Jeremy and Kelly would start to, draw attention from these other castaways, but it doesn't seem like. I mean, Keith got heat tonight. Tasha got heat tonight. They're both in the game. So Kelly, Spencer, and Jeremy, I know Spencer doesn't have an idol, but those three who are like clearly the front runners, they seem to be doing okay.
I mean, if either Jeremy or Kelly win immunity next week, they're going to the Final Four. And they're almost in the Final 3 at that point. Like, they're definitely in the Final 4 if they win immunity next week. Or, next week at Final 6, That's crazy. That's pretty wild. Let's see. What about, again, Keith is an old man from the South, strong. He can eat whatever he wants and not work out, but still outlasts people who do eat right and work out. Yeah, he's got that just, like, natural strength, that natural ability. But he's also a fireman, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's a darn fireman.
Yeah. Ween Dog 2. Will Spencer stick with Jeremy and Tasha, or was that just a voting block?
I don't know. I mean, if you're Jeremy or Spencer, you don't want to go up against the other one. At least that's what I'm thinking.
You would think they would be smart about that.
But I don't know. Jeremy, for how little heat Jeremy is taking, it's so weird. Like, people don't bring his name up. Like, maybe people think Jeremy isn't playing that strong of a game.
It's weird. It's very weird that, like, even Wentworth getting called, like, I don't even know if they called her a goat, but getting mentioned with the goats tonight. Like, are Wentworth and Jeremy just not on anybody's radar because they're not playing flashy? Like, is that?
I mean, I don't know. Like, who is playing flashy then?
Nobody.
Because they're the only two. They're the only two that played idols. Like, I don't know.
Maybe people are thinking Tasha's playing more than she is, though. Like, maybe they're, like, seeing her and she's more vocal about it. I don't know. It feels like Jeremy and Wentworth make decisions, but they don't really make the decisions. Like, they're kind of letting other people kind of say it for them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of Earl in Fiji, where people didn't even realize he was kind of running the show. So once Yaman voted out and he's sitting there with Cassandra and Dreams, it was like, well, damn, you put yourself in a great spot and everyone kind of likes you. And Earl's like, yeah, that was the darn goal of this game, is to get votes at Final Tribal Council. So I don't think people on the island really thought Earl was like this great player or threat, but you watch the season, listen to his confessionals, and he's like one of the greats.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. They didn't even realize. I think that's kind of what's happening right now. Zachary Foote, do you guys think Tasha has a chance to win going into the finale? I give her the 4th best chance to win, but I don't think that she really has a chance to win.
I'll be shocked if she wins. It's not. It's really not going to happen.
Cale Kuffner, Phil is right about the Tasha thing.
What
Don't worry,
Tasha
there's
thing?
a bunch. The Tasha thing from the beginning. Don't worry, there's a bunch of Tasha comments here now. People liked our feud, man. We kept arguing with each other, and it worked. Nicholas Rodian, Will is right. Tasha can never do this challenge, even if she was doing it all by herself. Joe actually pushed himself to his limit, could not hold the pole any longer, pushed himself to the point he literally passed out. Comparing Joe passing out from an endurance challenge and Tasha swimming is insane.
Thank you.
See, there's another one for you. D6 Comedy, what do you think of Tasha now, Philly boy? She made this move. I vote Tasha MVP. I don't really think she made this move. She almost went home. But he does go on, and I'm really starting to like D6 Comedy a little bit here. Will, it's Cambodia. What do you expect? No one going to be tired. They had rain most days. It was horrible conditions. We forget Tasha was on Angkor, which was the tribe with nothing. Will needs a smack for that one. So look at this, man. Look at us go.
Okay, Abby was on Angkor. Like, Abby was on Takeo too, who had it way worse than the original Bion. I just won that argument against that prior tribe. But it doesn't matter. Kimmy got it done. Abby got it done. Keith spent. They all got it done. She couldn't get out of the water. This isn't pushing herself. She just couldn't do it. It's like me juggling fire. I would burn alive. It's not any limit. It's just like not me going, you know what, I'm a really good competitor. So no, it's just like that's not something I can do. And she couldn't do this. So to look at it as some like, wow, that girl's giving it her all. It's like, you know what, honestly, if she gave it her all, she probably wouldn't have had people come rescue her, if you're going to look at it as giving it her all.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, she didn't give her life for it. I will say that.
She didn't give it enough. Like,
she didn't give her life for it. She didn't actually drown. She's not sitting there at the bottom of whatever water.
Right away. She was barely, like, she got up very quickly. Like, yeah, I get it that it's really scary. I think that's more it than anything. You get scared. You're like, holy shit.
Well, you're going to panic more in water than you are on dry land.
I'm not comparing this to Joe anymore. I'm just saying I think Tasha, it was more of a panic and maybe even embarrassment. Like, if I can't even get this key and I have to go up on land, like, she was just like, she didn't know what else to do. So people had to jump in and save her. But to say that she is like going all out of this challenge, strong competitor, like, it is just absurd. So whoever said that you were insane before, I love it.
Don't worry, man. There's plenty of more comments about this. So you keep defending yourself. I don't have to. Dylan Peddle. Surprised to hear that they said Wigglesworth is a threat to win the game in an earlier episode and say that Wentworth is a GOAT in this one. What makes Wigglesworth more of a threat to win this game than Wentworth? Also, my winner pick is Spencer. That is a great question. Like, were people actually thinking that Kelly Wigglesworth could win this game and Kelly Wentworth didn't really have a chance? Was that, like, really a thought that was going through their heads?
Again, I think this is all due to the prior seasons. We have the runner-up from season 1 versus someone who went out pre-merge in a very lackluster San Juan del Sur. And it comes down to that. That's all that people have seen. They don't get to see the confessionals. They don't get to see the behind the scenes, and they're kind of acting based on that. And that's why I'm so shocked Tasha is bunking with Jeremy and Spencer.
Yeah, they both proved that they can play this game really well. I mean, Spencer beat Tasha once. Is he going to beat her again? Like, I don't know. It's weird. Dylan Peddle, my mom is guessing that if there's a tie at Final Tribal Council, it'll be for Spencer and Keith. I completely disagree with her. What are your guys' opinions on that? There's no way Keith gets as many votes as Spencer at the final 3.
It's looking like either a Spencer Kelly or a Spencer Jeremy.
It could be a Jeremy Kelly too, though. I could totally see that.
It could. Hey, you could. I'm just looking at like how the numbers shake out. It looks very likely that Spencer and Jeremy can wind up together in a final 3.
What happens if it's a 3-way tie?
It can't be with 10 players.
Oh, that's true. All right. Yeah, because Jeff – okay, the only reason I even thought of the 3-way tie was because Jeff had said at one point that they had a plan for a 3-way tie. So we'll never see that this season. That's true. It's 10.
Jeff did wear black today also.
I already put that down. Don't worry. I gave you your 2 points. I saw that. Mnit B. I'm sorry, Will, but Phil is right. Tasha wasn't on the buoy just to hang on and be safe as much as her not wanting to go underwater and just pulling the key up using the rope, because you can clearly see her pulling on the rope and retrieve her key at the end, and she was still going. Plus, she said she's bad at swimming, and not that she didn't know how to completely. So as much as you may call it apples and oranges, the only reason she didn't make it back is because her legs gave out from exhaustion. I'm 100% sure she'd have collapsed like Joe if she made it back to the beach.
Yeah, I agree with everything said, but that doesn't mean it's on the level of Joe. Like, yeah, she was trying, but
you're saying that she didn't push herself to her limit, though. That's mind-blowing to me. I don't know how you keep saying that.
It's more of the way that you're saying it. You're like, you were comparing it to Joe and saying like that's a great competitive spirit. It isn't that. I guess so you would say me juggling fire, that's pushing myself. And
No, dude, stop bringing up you juggling fire. That's not something. Swimming, Tasha can swim. Tasha can swim. It's not that she doesn't know how to swim. You do not know how to juggle fire.
I know how to juggle balls.
Fire. You can light something on fire and juggle something that's on fire, but you can't literally juggle fire. Good luck with that, sir. That fire is going to eat your arm alive.
Okay,
like,
juggling sticks.
Tasha can swim. Tasha can swim. She's just not very good at it. There's a difference between that and juggling chainsaws. Because juggling chainsaws, I don't even think you could throw a chainsaw up in the air. So there's a big difference here. This is like I'm really bad at Monopoly. But I gave everything I had, and I went to my last dollar at Monopoly. You can't compare it to.
That's how you lose Monopoly, going to your last dollar. Oh
you
my God! That's like me burning alive. You're proving my point again.
No, you're ridiculous. You're ridiculous with this. She pushed herself to her absolute limit,
and her limit is nothing. So why give it any? But her limit is so low. Why are we even giving it credit? Why can't we talk about Kimmy getting it done? Let's talk about Kimmy for 10 minutes.
I'll talk about Kimmy for 10 minutes.
She did a great job on the challenge. I mean, why are you comparing Tasha to Joe? That's what I have a problem with. I don't care. Fine. Tasha went to her limit.
Yeah, her limit that's all you have to say.
Her limit sucks, but you're comparing it to as Joe pushed himself to his limit. Very different. That's apples and oranges.
Everybody has their own limits, dude. Everybody has their own limits. If a 85-year-old man runs 100 meters and he falls down at the end and he only runs like 40 seconds for the 100 meters, but a 19-year-old man runs 10 seconds for that 100 meters and passes out at the end, they both still push themselves to the limit. Obviously, the 19-year-old's limit is a lot higher than the 85-year-old man's limit. Like, it's still pushing yourself to a limit. It's just that your limits are at a very different area.
Right,
like, I don't
brought it up in the context of why aren't people calling out Tasha for being a challenge threat? And I'm saying
I told you that was half kidding at the beginning. I don't know why that's still even coming up. I told you that was half kidding. I was just surprised nobody said it, considering she was willing to push herself to passing out.
See, you're not kidding because you're surprised why no one brought it up. And there's no reason why they would brought it up because she sucks at swimming. That was all it was.
Edwin Hernandez, Phil was right. Tasha pushed herself to her limit. So I'm sorry, Phil, but you are totally wrong about this. Edwin Hernandez again. So which is the thing that hasn't happened before? 2 idols being played and all votes being negated, or a tie at Final Tribal Council? He hopes it's the latter. Neither thing has happened, right? Because I know that there's been like crazy votes before, but there's never been every vote negated. So
the way he's standing, it can't be he would say that after holding a vote.
Yeah.
You know? It's going to be a tie, and you can give me all the praise you want for calling that out immediately after reading the comment. Okay. No praise.
What do you want praise for? No, I mean, I already told you did a good job and called it. I told you that earlier. I give credit to you. I give credit. D6 comedy. The way Spencer shook his head at Keith at Tribal means he will not go with Wentworth and Keith now. I think that, I think Keith and Wentworth are in trouble at the beginning of this next episode. I wouldn't be surprised if Kimmy's like our 4th place finisher. The only thing that could happen here is this other group of 4 votes out Keith first, not realizing Wentworth has an idol, and Wentworth plays her idol at Final 5, and then it's like a huge blindside because it's like, oh crap, nobody was expecting that.
Yeah. Again, we'll get into like all that stuff on Sunday.
Mnit B, I had so much respect for Spencer after the Stephen boot, but he's made the wrong decision twice sticking with Jeremy. I feel as though everyone has been talking about these goats, but both Spencer and Tasha have basically been blind to Jeremy and have been his goats. And I'm pretty sure the first time thing will be a double idol play. Jeremy Spencer and Tasha vote Wentworth, Kimmy, Keith, and Kelly vote Jeremy, because they all showed in the preview Kimmy saying she wants to flip the game and talking to Keith. And with Spencer being a huge immunity favorite, if there's a tie after Final Tribal, the 3rd place person joins the jury and becomes the tiebreaker. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm assuming would happen with that one.
Did the whole tiebreaker scenario on Sunday's podcast last Sunday.
Yeah. Joe Pruss, who do you think would win? I mean, we'll get into that one. It's with Wentworth, Spencer, and Jeremy. That's going to be the most fun one to talk about, so we'll definitely wait till Sunday for that one because that's going to be the one where like you can really make an argument for any of the 3. That's going to come down to just who's on the jury. Let's see. I think we only have one more comment. Dylan Peddle. I had a feeling Abby was going out from the start of the episode when she had that confessional and said Payback's a bitch. As she said that and then got voted off, and then Payback was a bitch for her. Yeah, I mean, bye, Abby Maria. You definitely surpassed my expectations. I never in a million years thought you would have made it even this far. The fact that you almost made it to the finale blows my mind. Just because I thought you would be gone before there was even a switch up. So good for you, Abby Maria, for making it this far. I'm not sad that you're not in the finale, but hey, I don't know what else to say to that. Bye, Abby Maria.
Yeah, no, I mean, a little less of her early on, but it was good having her on the show. It was.
Yeah, she was fine this season.
Got better throughout.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't completely devastating for her to go, though. I'm just happy. I'm very happy with the final 6. I know 2 or 3 of them can't win, but I'm very happy with this final 6. 3 from San Juan del Sur, it's 2 from Cagayan, and it's Kimmy from Australia. Like, that's pretty wild. And something that I want to point out, last week on the predictions, I had said, I was surprised that the 3 of them made it. All the 3 San Juan del Sur people were still in the game. Like I said, I was really shocked. I'm more shocked that the 3 of them made it this far without really working together, ever. Because it hasn't been like that was an alliance that just got through the game. They never really worked together.
Unless there's more that like we're seeing, and Survivor didn't want to make it seem like, wow, the people that had more people from their own season had an advantage, and that they're kind of hiding it. And maybe the San Juan del Sur people are like, yo, let's bond together, let's tell people information. And maybe that's how. Maybe Joe didn't tip off Kelly on that idol. Maybe Kelly just knew to play it.
Yeah,
because of Keith or Jeremy, or I don't know.
Because it is weird. Like, Jeremy's been on one side, Kelly's been on the other, and Keith's been in the middle. So, like, it's not even like they've been voting together ever. Like, Keith's always on one side and then the other. It's pretty wild how that happened.
Or when they're picking people to take out, they're like, yeah, let's not vote out the San Juan del Sur person if they're kind of just steering it towards someone else, because they know in the end they can, have some sort of relationship. I don't know. This is probably all BS, probably all a coincidence. I remember we said it again on Sunday. We looked at our boot list predictions before the season even started. We all had the 3 San Juan del Sur players in the top 6. So who had the better top 6? Who else did I have in my top 6?
Oh, you're going to end up winning the boot list. You had your top 6 was Steven, Terry, Keith, Tasha, Wentworth, and Jeremy. But your top 4 are all still in the game. I had Savage, Keith, Wentworth, Wu, Jeremy, and Tasha, but I had Wu at 3. So you're going to end up winning this. I had Kimmy all the way back at 16.
Okay, but we each called 4 out of the top 6. I mean, man, who podcasted better than us?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Nobody.
Especially for people who haven't played Survivor. I know there's some people who play Survivor who podcast that are pretty darn good at it, who I enjoy listening to. So,
yeah. So what? Now I have to pick Wentworth and hope she's not the first boot next episode, and then I'll beat you in the other game. You're going to beat me in the bootless game. And the fantasy game you're probably going to win at, because you have Spencer, Tasha, and Jeremy. So in terms of fantasy games, Will, you made a little comeback this year. Good for you, man.
I've only done it for 2 years, so if I do end up winning, then we're even, 1-1. Okay, that sounds good. We're gonna do a big finale prediction episode on Sunday. This one I feel like was probably shorter than usual, except I think it's about an hour. So write your comments in on this video all about. And please, when you're commenting, don't just say who's going to win in this final 3. And I know we had an already comment tonight. That was a great comment. We thank you for it. But throw out something a little more original, because we are going to go through all of the final 3 scenarios with jury members and everything and idols and all that stuff. So we don't want you to waste your comments, So that makes sense, right, Phil?
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense.
Okay, so we want to hear some kind of, I don't know, who will have the best jury speech? I don't know. You can't ask that one now. I just stole it from you. Phil, do you have anything else?
Nope.